Welcome to Lovecast, the BL podcast for views. This time we're diving back into the Japanese BL side of things with the 2023 series I Cannot Reach You. And today I have my fellow hosts Kayla and Pixie with me.
Hey.
Yay. Alrighty, so I will just jump right into the synopsis info and then we can get into chatting as always. So the synopsis. Childhood best friends, two halves of a whole, the cool, smart one who's good at almost everything, and his average, dorky friend who struggles to do anything right. Yamato and Kakeru, always by each other's side, but not together in the way they truly want to be. No matter how hard they try, their hearts cannot reach each other. So this is an 8-episode Japanese BL. The episodes were 20 minutes each, and it is available on both Netflix and Viki. I was like fully watching it on some other site before I realized that it was on Netflix, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I can just open up my Netflix subscription and watch it. So that was a pleasant surprise because I don't often get to watch BL on Netflix, but yeah, I don't know. This show, I enjoyed it. I'm a childhood friend slash best friend slash friends to lovers fan. So, I'm always gonna enjoy like the yearning that comes with do I confess my feelings to this person? How is this gonna change our relationship? What does this mean for me if I really do like this person back? Like that kind of inner monologue is something that I always really enjoy in series. And this one was pretty decent. I think it took me like the first maybe 2 or so episodes, I wasn't as locked in as I expected to be. Like I found myself kind of half watching at first, and I think I was struggling a little bit with Kakeru, I think, is the character who's supposed to be like the dorky one. It took me a little bit to connect with his character, and I don't know if it was just like the acting wasn't hitting for me or something about him I wasn't just quite locked in. But I think by the time episode 3 rolled around and they kind of got the first partial slash almost confession slash confession happening, I think that was when I really locked in, because that was kind of when Kakeru started to really kind of confront how he's been viewing Yamato this whole time. And I think that's where the kind of energy that I really enjoy from a friends to lovers series kind of picked up. So I think from episodes 3 to 8, I was pretty locked into it, and I enjoyed the way the relationship played out, and I thought the kind of inner turmoil between both characters and kind of where they were and understanding their relationship to each other was really interesting to watch.
Yeah. I was saying before we started here, I cannot remember this show. I know I watched it and I know I enjoyed it. I cannot for the life of me remember what actually happens in it.
Well.
But I do think like I remember the feelings of it, and I remember how that I liked it. But I think there's something about it being a little bit generic. There's not like anything wow to get hooked on. So that's why like I sit with the emotion of, yeah, I like this, but I can't remember it. And I did watch it when it was airing, just so it's been a while.
Yeah, funny you say you can't remember it, because I literally wrote in my notes that I feel like it's forgettable. And I didn't know if that felt like too mean, because I did think that overall it was really cute. But it's just very basic. Like,
Yeah.
it's the most Japanese BL
Yeah.
to exist.
Yeah.
Simple,
Yeah.
high school friends, all the
Standard
cliches.
yaoi.
Literally. Literally.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I was watching like the first couple of episodes and I was like, yeah, this is like the dynamic of every other Japanese BL that I feel like I've watched. Like I think Japan, I mean, we were just talking about how Japan likes like kind of messed up characters, but Japan also really loves a generic best friends to lover storyline. And
there's no middle part. There's just like either
it's like super soft and fluffy,
or tied to a bed. Yeah.
The two ends of the extreme is what they really like. But yeah, I think I definitely agree that it was on the more like generic side of things for a Japanese BL. I think it's like a trope that I enjoy, so I think, you know, I liked it no matter what. But yeah, I agree that it's not necessarily something I'll come back to. I did really enjoy like the characters' inner monologues. I think that was probably the thing that the show did best, was kind of taking you through this journey that both of them were going on, with Yamato, with like him having this whole, I've been in love with this person since I was young, but you know, the idea of like forcing my desires on them really scares me, and I don't think they deserve that. And then with Kakeru, it's kind of like he went back and forth a lot over how he felt about Yamato's feelings for him, and realizing that Yamato liked him and what that meant. I think he was the kind of character where like he was falling for this person before he really realized he was falling for this person. So I think the thing in terms of the show that I enjoyed the most was like the inner monologues and watching how they worked. But yeah, like in terms of the plot, did you remember something, Pixie?
No, but I want to say, like, if you took that description that you just gave out of context, that is exactly the plot of Old Fashioned Cupcake.
Yeah, like in terms of like their relationship dynamic.
Yeah. One has been in love for a really long time. The other one hasn't. They have this whole back and forth, and it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah. I think the setting's a little bit different, but
obviously, like
in terms of like
office and youth school, whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think general character feelings wise, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an uncommon relationship dynamic to see in BL in general, but yeah, I don't know.
I love the like pining and longing aspect of like the best friends to lovers thing, but I kind of wanted there to be more like trauma associated with it to make it more interesting. And I mean, that wasn't what this show was. Like, it wasn't trying to go in that direction, but just like something more, maybe more angst or something would have made made the plot a little more interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I really liked, I don't know. I think I liked, the sister, Yamato's sister, and their dynamic that they had. I thought, I like the supporting characters in this. I thought that Yamato's sister was really interesting. I liked their sibling dynamic. And I liked the way they conversed with each other. I think she was, even though she didn't have a lot of lines, I think she was a good, what's the word I'm looking for? Not catalyst, but I don't know what type of word, like someone to kind of like influence him to kind of take action and reflect on himself. And then the other person was kind of their friend, who kind of plays that stereotypical like kind of an asshole, like he always has like dyed blonde hair, like that cool dude in the friend group who like observes everything and always knows what's going on. But I kind of like that the show just kind of had people randomly realizing how much they liked each other and then just being like super chill about it. Like two people in the friend group just saw them kissing on the bridge and were like, yeah, we just agreed not to say anything about it because we didn't want to, you know, overstep our boundaries. So I kind of liked how there was like a little bit of conversation that kind of implied like what it would mean for these two men to be in a relationship down the line, like in terms of society. But for the most part, I like that the friends just kind of like saw what was happening and were like, yeah, I mean, you obviously like him, we saw you guys kissing on the bridge, like it's fine, you're chill, you're doing whatever. So I think the friends were cool, and I like that they kind of just had them casually like be and chill with whatever was going on. I feel like we don't see often in Japanese BLs, like the friend group dynamic that they had is pretty common, but I feel like we don't get to see as often like how the relationship incorporates into the friend group. So I thought this was cool that the friends were kind of just like in on what was going on and trying to be wingmen to both of them basically. But yeah, I don't know.
I thought everyone was really pretty. That was like the first thing that struck me, is everyone in the show is like so beautiful. So I mean, if you want eye candy, there you go.
I mean, there's some nostalgia to watching a show that kind of brings me back to when I was reading yaoi way back in the day. So I think that sort of has something to do with me enjoying it, because no matter what I'm saying and that fact that I forgot what happens in it, I know I liked it, and I know I was thinking about it like a lot after watching it too, but it's just whoop. I think there's a space for shows like this. I don't think that they shouldn't make them. I think we need it. Like, it's a palate cleanser, basically, right? And yeah, I can see why people would get obsessed with it, with this show, and why they would love it a lot. But yeah, if you sort of forget about it, it's gone from your head. Like, if you just stop thinking about it, it'll be gone.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, obviously this show won the poll, so it worked for people for and I'm genuinely now very curious, like, what I liked it, but I think that's like all I can say about it. So and this is not meant to be condescending, like, I'm very, very curious about, you know, the people who were really drawn to it, like what they connected with so much about it. Because maybe that connection just wasn't there for us. I don't know, maybe it was something, well, Pixie, you said you were watching it weekly. I thought it was a very good bingeable show. Like, it was very easy to digest. I literally watched it in 3 hours last night, and like the episodes were 20 minutes. So I don't know, maybe like more of the yearning would have come across if I was watching it weekly, because like there were some decent cliffhangers where things were ending on some like pretty significant like confession or like hugging moments and stuff like that. So I'm like, maybe if I was getting that weekly like cliffhanger, things would have connected more for me in terms of like getting hooked on what the storyline was bringing. But yeah, I think it is a very like simplistic plot. I like the description of palate cleanser, because I love palate cleanser shows. Like, I feel like I get drawn to them because that's what I like to shut my brain off after a really crappy day at work, which is like every day at work these days. So I think palate cleanser shows are good for that, and I enjoy them for that reason. But yeah, it does make me curious about like why this was the show that like people really wanted to get our thoughts on, because unfortunately I feel like we don't have a lot of like super in-depth thoughts about it. I don't know.
I think there could be like, there is something really endearing with just like the genre of like young love, this like sweet high school romance thing. It does bring a lot of nostalgia for people, I think. And that is probably a big draw of it, is kind of in a way like reminding you of a simpler time, especially because there's nothing super crazy that happens in it. But yeah, I agree that it's definitely a good palate cleanser.
Yeah, I think it was very interesting. At one point I felt like there was this moment, it was in one of the later episodes, where they were like, it was before they started dating, but like they were in the phase where like they were both aware that they liked each other. And there was this moment where I think Kakeru was being like very self-deprecating, like, I don't understand why you like me, like, I don't understand what I have to offer, like, you're the super cool, like, competent person, and I'm just like this nerdy guy, which I didn't really think he was that nerdy or that much of a loser, like the show described him as. Like, he was just a normal person. But then like all of a sudden, like, Yamato like pushed him on the bed and was like forcing himself on him, and I was like, where did this come from? And it felt like it came out of nowhere, and then like just like was not like, I don't know, I don't want to say it was insignificant because he did feel really guilty about it, but it just felt like this one random moment where like, I don't know if they were trying to do something a little bit like on the darker side of like giving into your desires, and like, but it just felt like Yamato as a character did not feel like the type of person who would ever force himself on Kakeru. So that moment for me kind of stuck out as one where he felt kind of out of character, but I guess maybe they were trying to touch on he has all these desires for Kakeru that he's been holding back all this time. But I don't know, it just felt, I think that's one moment that sticks out to me like as something that felt kind of weird and out of place almost, and a show that was generally very just like soft and straightforward.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe they were trying, because it's based off of a manga, yaoi, obviously. I think like maybe they were trying to adapt it for more modern times and keep some of the more questionable behavior out of it that isn't as accepted nowadays as it was.
I mean, maybe
because
that side of his character was, I mean, they did kind of hint at him like having all of these, he talked about the whole like desires that he can't
urges
let out,
like
so
that's a big plot in yaoi. Like there's so like, many yaois with that plot. And the thing is, like, I just researched the manga a little bit, and I like there's several scenes where he's pushing himself on so
maybe it is more of like an homage to his character in the manga. But yeah, like in the show, like up until that point, like he, at least the way his character had delivered the lines, it seems like you know, the desires he was talking about was just him loving this person so much that like he was scared of ever letting those like romantic feelings out. But yeah, maybe it was just like, oh, those desires are something very different, and this is us talking
about like mature content in a PG way.
yeah There were like a couple like little moments where like there was like, oh, his friend was like gonna have his girlfriend over and his parents are away, and he was like, oh, are you guys gonna ... So like, you know, everything else implying sex at that point had been like very like PG, like youth romance. So like that moment just felt like, I was like, why are we like on the bed, and he was like pushing his shirt up, and I was like, this just felt like it came out of nowhere. But yeah, maybe it was something that was
came out of the manga.
More meant to reference back to the manga. So I mean,
I think so.
I liked the resolution. It was a little bit like, I'm such a contradiction, because like I do like slow burn romance, but sometimes I'm just like, y'all should have been together like 2 episodes ago. So like I was a little bit, I like slow burn, but I hate when the characters get together in like the last 2 minutes of the show. Like if you're gonna give me slow burn, I at least need like a little bit of like some of their time together. But this show was literally one where like they agreed to date each other, and that was like the end of the show. And like they kissed, and like that was where the show ends. So I think part of me was like, it would have been nice to see, I mean, they did acknowledge their feelings for each other a couple episodes earlier, but I'm like, it would have been nice to see a little bit more of the actual relationship and what that looked like. I don't know, it was a cute, straightforward romance. I think I enjoyed watching it. Like I said, I think it's a good binge show. Like it was a nice like Friday night show to binge when I didn't really have anything else to do. So it's enjoyable to watch for that type of thing. But yeah,
I think it would be a good introduction into BL also for maybe a little bit of younger fans, or maybe fans. Like if you want to introduce some of your friends to it, it would probably be a great gateway BL.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a very quintessential Japanese BL plot, at least one, like one side of the Japanese BL spectrum. So I think in terms of the other like school romances or like youth romances that I've watched, I think this one had good production value. I think it had characters that were a little bit more fleshed out than some of the other ones I've seen. Like, I think this is one where both of the characters were decently fleshed out, and we saw both of their perspectives, as opposed to, like, just getting one person's internal monologue and just kind of having to figure out what the other person is.
Are you throwing shade at My Beautiful Man?
I love My Beautiful Man. I would never throw. No, I'm talking about like the youth romances, like the other things that are similar in this genre. I think My Beautiful Man is like
My
a
Beautiful
different
Man
entity.
is a youth romance.
I mean, yes, but technically yes,
but it's on the
at
other
least
end.
the first season. Yeah, My Beautiful Man is a thing that exists like in its own category, I think, of Japanese television, Japanese BL. But yeah, I think if we're thinking like the soft, sweet youth Japanese romance, I think this is one of the ones that I have appreciated the character development a little bit more, and I think that existed a little bit more compared to others. So if you like more character driven stuff, then maybe you would enjoy it for that reason. But yeah.
I think it's really well done.
All right. Any other final thoughts before we give it a rating out of 5? No?
Honestly,
Well,
no.
I feel like I would go like I almost said like a solid 3 because I think it's kind of middle of the line, but I think I lean more towards like a 2.5 because I mean, it's sitting here, like, I enjoyed it when I was watching it, but like sitting here doing this review, we were all kind of like, I don't know what can I say about it. So yeah, I don't know. I think it was a good watch. Like, I enjoyed it, but I guess if it's not really fostering much like discussion out of it, I mean, not every show needs to foster discussion, I guess, but I don't know. I'm somewhere between like a 2.5 and a 3, so maybe a 2.75. Like, it's good TV, but it's not my favorite thing that I've ever watched.
Yeah, I mean, I would say a 3 because it's good for what it is. It's youth, it's love, it's pining, it's good for what it is. It's very well made for the audience that it's supposed to reach. But we all know that I tend to go toward
You're not that audience.
I'm not that audience, but I did genuinely remember that I did enjoy it.
I'm gonna give it a 3, just out of personal preference. But I agree that like it is what it is. It caters to who it caters to, and honestly, like, there are some horrible shows out there, and this isn't one of them. Like, the production, acting, everything is pretty decent. I just wasn't too interested in the plot itself. So I think middle ground.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a nice palate cleanser, decent production value, decent acting, I think, like I said this like 4 times, I think it's a good bingeable show. So if that's what you're looking for, something you can knock out in a couple hours, I think this one is something that would really fit that kind of bill. But yeah. All right, well, I think that's it for our quick thoughts on I Cannot Reach You. Please chat with us in the comments. Like, this show won the poll, so I think we'd really be interested to know.
People probably have thoughts about it.
Yeah, like what perspective you were watching it from, what you really enjoyed about it. If you didn't enjoy it, you know, why didn't it hit for you? Was it for similar reasons that we kind of didn't connect with it for whatever reason? So be sure to share your thoughts with us, either if you're watching on Patreon or later on when it goes up on YouTube. And if you are watching on YouTube, just as a reminder, all of our BL reviews and GL reviews are voted on by our Patreon members, and they also get access to these reviews a month before they go up on YouTube for the general public. So if you want to support the podcast and you're interested in our review content, that is one way you can do so, and you can find the link to our Patreon down in the description. So yeah, be sure to check us out on our socials, check out our other channel content, and we will see you guys in another review next month.